Hi everybody, hopefully you can hear me okay. Let me see if the volume is showing up over here. Hopefully, yeah, it looks like it is. Okay, cool. So I'm on my laptop today. I'm going to do this kind of quick, but I thought I would share this with you. This is a little project that I put together, which I think may be useful to some folks. So if I go pull up a browser really quickly, so this is going to be the GitHub page for that. Let me just go save this real quick. I'm calling it MX Proxy because I'm using it with Mexico as my region. I basically put this together for myself. I've been using a variant of this kind of thing for about 1 billion years because it's really, really simple. And effectively what it is a VPN alternative, really. So it's just a little shell script, and I'm using Google Cloud with this. And the primary reason for that is there's 1 million Google Cloud regions. So before you have it set up, you do need to have Google Cloud installed, or the gcloud command line / gcloud SDK, as it also may be known. It's very easy to go install. It's available on Mac, on Windows, and Debian, and of course you could go use something like WSL or what have you. The current script is assuming that you are using Chromium if you want to have the default kind of browse behavior, but let me basically just show you what it does. So I'm located in the United States, and there is this service called Storytel, which is like an Audible alternative, right? So it's an ebook, not an ebook, but an audiobook store, right? But they're really cheap, and they have really good subscription, but for whatever reason, they are not in the United States. They're in a lot of different countries. And you'll find this sometimes with copywritten material, and this is probably what this comes down to, is there's probably deals with publishers that have been made that exclude particular regions. But it tends to be, a while available through like Scandinavia, a decent bit of Europe, and a lot of different countries. But that's also true with other things. Like, Netflix, for example, has content that may be available in some regions versus others. And one of the really nice things about Google Cloud is they've got 1 billion, here we go, different locations. So this is a list of the current set of regions. Hopefully that's big enough, but you can see obviously there's a lot in the United States. For our purpose, we only really care about countries. But we've got the US, we've got Canada, we've got Mexico, which is what I'm going to be using. They just opened up a data center in Querétaro. And then they have Sao Paulo, they have Santiago. This is also really helpful for me because I am learning Spanish. I've been trying to learn Spanish since the pandemic, and I'm kind of at a phase where I'm trying to consume a lot of Spanish language content, and having access to countries where like Chile, where there's going to be Spanish language content, or Mexico, where there's going to be Spanish language content, is very, very helpful. But this may be, for you want to have access to French content, so you might be using this to connect to Montreal or Paris. Sounds a lot like a VPN. And basically, it's more or less a pretty similar idea, but without a lot of the hullabaloo, as it were. So the script, I've just named it MX, what did I call it? MX Proxy? Yeah. Or... yeah, MXVM is what I called it, looks like. And it's called that because it spins up a virtual machine or a compute engine instance. Now, what it does, if you want to go run this, by all means, help yourself. You'll just need to have a working Google Cloud account. By the way, they give you $300 of credits when you first sign up, and then there's a permanent free tier. So if this was all that you were using it for, you'd effectively have a free VPN alternative, and you could change this to effectively set up a VPN if you want to kind of do it that way instead. So if I go run this, it basically gives you how to go run it, which is basically just start, stop, browse, gives you a link to the project, and you can go pull it up on a QR code as well. I'll move my mouse off of that in case you want to use that to go pull the project up. But it's really, really simple. If I just do mx vm.sh, what it's going to go ahead and do is what's that usage. I'm going to go run start. It is going to go ahead and connect to Google Cloud using the gcloud command, and it is going to provision a compute engine instance. Now, the way that you do this can vary a little bit. So you could go change this to go use the micro. I have it using a small right now, just because it starts up a little bit quicker. Because it's installing Squid, which is a proxy, HTTP/HTTPS proxy. So works great. So that's the first thing. Squid has been around for a million years. It works really, really nicely. And what this effectively allows you to do is configure your browser to point at the proxy, which is then forwarded over SSH, which then effectively gives you the the same kind of thing as a VPN. Your browser is sending traffic through your proxy, which is running in that region. So you can see here that we've got configure browser to use HTTPS proxy, and the proxy is localhost 3128, which is Squid's default port. You can see basically what is run here. So we're running gcloud compute SSH, right? So this is if you want to go do it manually. You run that compute SSH command to go set up the tunnel, and then that's going to go ahead and allow you to go connect to localhost. But I sort of automated this a little bit. So if we do mx and then we say browse, this is going to go kick off Chromium, or it should have kicked off Chromium. There we go. Now it is good. So this is kicking off Chromium. And this is kicking off Chromium so that it's specifically calling the -- proxy equals startup command line flag. So if I go to Storytel, I think I'll just do a search for Storytel. You can see here that it gives us a couple options. I think it's a Swedish company, but you can also see that it's got the different languages here. So we've got English and we've got Spanish. So if I go ahead and just click on Audiobooks for Everybody, so you can see now there's a subscribe button, right? If I were to go do this in, I think I just had, sorry, so it says, okay, yeah, so it defaults to MX now, right? So so that's fantastic. So this means that I can now go ahead and click on subscribe, and obviously it's going to go ahead and do things like have your prices in pesos. So that's something to kind of be aware of. So don't freak out at $99 for 3 months. That's not actually what's going to be the price. So if we do EN, it might be okay. So it didn't quite do this, but this is pretty cheap, right? So that's very, very cool. And if we go ahead and do like maps.google.com, so you can see that my location now shows up as should be Querétaro, which is I think somewhere around here. Not 100% sure where Querétaro is, but I think if I do, what is my IP? Yeah, you can say I checked this before. I think they have a map, so you can see that my location is Querétaro in Mexico, and I think there is a map that just takes a little while to go do that. But you can also see that my ISP here shows up as Google. So that's kind of cool. Should have good performance. I mean, it's going to be obviously based on whatever your internet connection is, but Google's connectivity is crazy fast. If you have a premium network configuration, which is not expensive in Google Cloud, all of your traffic will basically get routed through Google's private fiber network, which is not something that I personally care about very much. But if I was using this as a mechanism to add security to things, because maybe I was concerned about government overreach or things like that. So maybe if I was in China or Iran, things like that, what I would consider doing is, you could just kind of use this out of the box, because this is using the identity aware proxy, if memory serves. So what this will effectively do is it will connect to the identity aware proxy using your Google Cloud credentials over HTTPS. So it's effectively SSH wrapped in HTTPS. So it looks like it's just normal, regular web traffic to some like authentication service. So obviously, your mileage may vary. Be careful depending on the country that you're in and the purposes that you're using it for. But in general, that works really nicely. So if I go back over here to Storytel, and I try to go ahead and sign up, it's going to ask me what country I'm in. Actually, that might be. I didn't do it before. Yeah, if I go to EN here, it takes me to the list of countries. So to go figure it out, let me go back over here, so see if that works. Yeah, so now it redirects me to the Mexico site, but again, that's not a problem, right? So you can go sign up and you should be good to go. And then also, this is performance. So if we go to YouTube, right, for example, I think it is. All right, so this is looking a little bit slower now, but it's not bad. If you try to go play video, I've used this with Netflix before, and it works completely fine. So if I go play like a video, for example, you can see that it just starts playing immediately. It's not an issue. This could potentially be my internet right now. I've been having some issues with Spectrum, but very, very simple, very, very easy, works nicely. I've been doing this kind of thing for years as an alternative to a VPN, because VPN, you typically get a jump through hoops. You're sending all of your traffic. Sometimes you want to have some of your traffic go one way, some of your traffic go another way, and then we just do an MX. Let's say stop, and then that will basically stop the instance. And you'll be good to go. So I'll probably need to go tweak it so it doesn't show the usage every single time. I did that so it would have the QR code. But this is just going to go stop the instance, and it's going to go blow it away. One thing that just to mention before I kind of wrap this up, because this is just going to be a super quick video, is you can edit the script. It's just a really simple little bash script. I'll go ahead and pull it up on GitHub over here, just so you guys can see it. If we just go look at the script over here, there's a couple things you can go configure. So you could go change the zone to a zone that mapped to a country that you liked. You can change the browser command. You can change the instance size to mini would be probably fine. And then something I decided to go do, which you may not care about, but I have this set to be a spot instance. And the reason for that is if you were to go run this as a regular instance, this would cost you I think it works out to be like $7 a month, like $7.50 a month for a regular instance. A spot instance could be preempted by something else that needs compute time in the region. Not super likely, right? But it's not unlikely either. So it could happen. Call it like a 40% chance, something like that. Most of the time, if you're just kind of using this to browse, access a website, maybe watch some Netflix, something like that, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal if you get interrupted briefly, right? So if this gets killed by something else, you can just start it again. And you saw it took like 20 seconds to go spin up a new VPN server, and you're basically good to go. But what it does is it changes the price. Let me see if I can go to the actual cloud console. Like if I go to console and I go to create a new compute engine instance. So if I go create a VM, and we'll just do this super quick. I mean, I don't want to keep you guys all day. But basically what it does is it drops it to like $2 for an entire month, right? So, like, you're not going to be doing this. You're going to be using it for an hour at a time, something like that, maybe a couple hours. So if I go pick E2 as my instance type, all right, so it's using the default configuration. You can see it's $25 up there. This is not going to be $25 when we go pick a more reasonable size. If we were to go ahead and pick ET Micro, right, it's going to go generate, so it goes down to $7. I think I've got it set to small. So $13, right? But if we go down to advanced and we go ahead and change this to not be a standard VM, to be a spot instance, even if we were to go run this the entire month, right? So it drops it from $13 to $6. And I'm probably going to go change this back to micro because I don't really think we need to have a small. Small's kind of overkill for this. We definitely don't need 2 gigs of memory for this to go run. And then you can tweak these options, right? So all the different stuff is in the VM, just kind of is configurable, right? So if you wanted to, for example, have this be, stopped or deleted or things like that, you can also go ahead and have this be restarted, right? So you can, where's the restart option? Automatic restart is on. So I guess you need to go pick a different type of VM for that. But yeah, it's not that big of a deal. If you don't want to, you're only going to be running this for, again, a couple hours every now and again. So again, this is, it gives you the hourly cost. It's about, 1 cent hourly with preemptible. And then if we go back to premium, or not premium, but standard, it's about 2 cents hourly. So it's not a big deal. Like if you care about being interrupted, just switch it, and then you'll be good to go. And that would be very, very, very easy to do. Basically, all you do is you just comment that line out on the shell script. So instead of provisioning the model spot, just comment that line out, and then you're back to a regular VM, and you're good to go. So yeah, hope that's useful to somebody. If you've got things that you want to go add to it, or fixes, or anything that you noticed that I need to go update, by all means let me know, and I'll be happy to go take a look at that. So cheers.